Welcome to Fun with Arduino number 17. We are at the start of a whole new project. The plan is to build a model railway crossing. It's going to be a multi-part project, and this video will be about the specifications, and probably we will be able to make these lights blink because we already know how to do that. Before we go any further, let's have a look at the final end result that we strive for. Here is our railway crossing, and here is our simulated railway crossing. Let's start and see what happens. Okay, our lights are blinking as well as the lights in the real one are. Our gate is closing, and the timing seems to be approximately similar. That's all nice. Let's now wait for the train. I can already hear it coming. Alright, train passed by, and now the gate is going to open again. Well, that's it. It seems to work all quite nice. The gate is open and the lights stopped. The project can be split up in a couple of parts. We obviously need two lights to blink, and well, we know already how to do that. In the next video we are going to look how we can control a servo motor that can close and open the gate. Then we are having a look at how we can detect the train. Probably we are going to do that with optical sensors. And finally we need to find a way to combine this all together in the proper sequence. Well, let's first have a look at that last point. How can we specify a system like this? There is a nice way to do that. It's called a state transition diagram. It's a way of specifying a system without much text needed, because we can simply follow the arrows. In state 1 we are idle. We are waiting for a train which is detected by sensor 1. So we have an if statement here. If sensor 1 is triggered, then we start blinking, and also we already start a timer because sometime later the gate has to start to close. So again, here we have this if statement. If it is time, then we close the gate. Then we are waiting again. If sensor 2 is detected and the train has passed our crossing, then we can open the gate. And then there's another if statement. If the gate is fully open, then we stop blinking and we are back in state 1. So it's 4 states and 4 transitions, and every transition actually is an if statement. But the issue is we don't want these if statements to all 4 of them be tested in the loop. We only need to test one depending on the state we are in. And luckily there's a very nice construction for that, which is called a switch case. Let's have a look at that. This is the control structure called switch case. It consists of 2 parts. First we have the switch instruction, followed by the variable that determines which of the cases is going to be run. If the variable is 1, then this is the code that is going to be executed. If the variable is 2, then this is the code that is going to be executed. So this is a perfect way to split your software in small manageable parts and keep good oversight. Only one of the cases is actually doing the work right now. Well, it's better to see it working than to talk about it, so let's do a simple example for the blinking of the lights that we need anyhow. Let's first make the code for the blink like we have done that before, and then let's have a look at a state transition diagram using blink with 2 push buttons. This is good old blink code, but now with 2 LEDs, which is why we define 2 pins for them. And here we define 2 variables that say they are on or off. Here is our blink time that we are going to check with the millis clock later on. In setup we make our 2 pins an output, and then the code for the blinking itself is over here. We use of course our millis clock. We check if it is larger than time to blink, and if so we create our future time to blink, which is the current clock plus the blink speed that we specified. And of course we have to inverse our LED 1 now, and our LED 2 is going to become the inverse of LED 1. This makes the 2 LEDs blink intermittently. And at the end, of course, we do a digital write of the 2 LED pins. That's all. Let's try this out. Let's upload this code and start a video. Then these 2 LEDs over here should start blinking. Yes, they do. So first part of our railway crossing is almost there. But now we are going to try do this with a state transition diagram. Here we have it, our switch state with 2 states in. In the idle state, state 1, we only test if the button 1 is pressed, and if so, we set the variable transition to 1, 2. It's not 12, it is meant to read state 1 to state 2. And if we are in state 2, then all we need to do is test if button 2 is being pressed, and if it is, then we are jumping to transition 2 to 1. So we also have this switch case with our transitions in. It's over here. I have not filled in any activities code, just created the cases. This is case 1 to 2. And at the end of that case, we reset our transition variable to 0, which means that this code runs only once, and then there is no transition to be found, so nothing happens. And of course, at the end of this transition, we make our state variable 2. And with the other transition, the transition from state 2 back to 1, we also have to do some code there. We will fill that in a minute. But first, the framework is transition again becomes 0 and the state now becomes 1. And this makes that our whole state transition diagram is now ready. All we need to do is add some code. This is the state transition code merged with the blink code we had just before. I added the 2 push buttons but changed their names to sensor, because later on they are going to be the train detectors. Of course, in setup they are also added as an input, and I added a little serial printing so that we know what the situation is. Then in the loop the switch state has stayed exactly the same, nothing needed to be added there. And in the switch transition we now have the actions that we want to do. That is the serial print of where we are. That always helps for testing purposes. And of course now blink is enabled when we go from state 1 to 2. And if we go back from state 2 to 1, then blink is disabled. And also time to blink and both LEDs are reset to 0. And then finally the millis timer itself is now encapsulated inside the if statement that checks if blink is enabled. And last but not least, the 2 LEDs are written. This is the code with state transition diagram for a blink with push buttons. Is it a bit overkill? Yes, it is. For this example it is. But as soon as you have 3 or more states and transitions, then already the limited amount of overhead starts to pay off, because you can concentrate on just every bit at one time. It stays overseeable and manageable. It's quite a nice way to write code for straight transition diagrams. Let's try it out. I'm going to press the upload button and start a video at the same time. And when uploaded, I open the serial monitor. Yeah, system ready, waiting for button 1. Well, let me press button 1. Yeah, and well, we are blinking. And also here on the monitor, it says button 1 has been pressed, blinking has started. I can now press button 2 and the blinking has stopped. And also here on the monitor, it says that. Yeah, it has been done with switch case statements, and for this simple example, maybe a bit overkill, but for the complete example of the railway crossing, it will become very handy. We will see that in a couple of videos later. The next video, we are going to have some fun with the servo motor. How can we control it? How can we steer it to certain angles? How can we control the speed? We are going to figure that all out. Maybe see you back there. Bye bye.